Hi, my name is Jim Lockhart. I work as a radio producer in the music department in Radio 1 in RTE, and I also occasionally get out on the road with Horselips where I play flute and keyboards, and music has changed my life totally, all for the good. I started piano lessons when I was about like 10 and did it till I was 17 or something, just before the leaving. I sort of gave up then to concentrate on the leaving, because in those days it wasn't as... Nowadays, doing music in the leaving, the junior cert in the leaving, is a brilliant way to pick up points because they're like easy points, because it's a brilliantly designed course. You have a huge range of potential stuff that you can do. You can do your own computer stuff, you can write your own music, you can play pretty much any instrument you want. It's really creative, it's really open, and I would recommend any kid at school to look at doing music in the junior cert and the leaving cert, because anybody that I've recommended to do that has come back to me 6 months later and said thank you so much, brilliant thing to do. When I was doing it though, I dropped out before the leaving so that I could concentrate on all the other kind of academic stuff. But I did piano until I was like 17, from 10 to 17, and around about the same time as I was about to sort of give up doing piano lessons, I started playing tin whistle. There was like a ballad group in school, and the Christian brother came around to me and said, "We need a tin whistle. Lockhart, go out and buy a tin whistle and learn it." So I went out and bought a tin whistle and learned it, and then from that, after a couple of years, I kind of moved on and got a flute. I just taught myself flute, and that was... It did totally... Doing music like that, doing music at all, totally changed my life. It totally changed the course of my life, because apart from the fact that I then wound up making a brilliant living and having a brilliant time out of something that I just started doing as a... I don't know, why do you do music? Your parents tell you when you're young, go and have music lessons, but then it turns into some kind of a magical thing that's this door into a whole... I'm going to sound very poetic here, but it's like a door into a whole other universe. And I remember when I was like a real angsty teenager, about like 14 or something like that, and you're banging off the walls and you're going crazy, and I used to go and just play back two-part inventions endlessly, and it was a great way to clear the head. It was brilliant. I mean, it was better than actually getting a flag in a cider and breaking a couple of windows. It was brilliant. And then I went on the road with the band for 10 years after finishing college, and then, because I'd kind of got the bug totally at that stage, and I like being in studios like this, I like sitting behind a desk, I like listening to sound, and I'd built up a certain amount of expertise. I then had a whole career in TV and radio ahead of me, and I just kind of carried on doing that, and then got involved in producing live recordings in here in 2FM, and going around to festivals every year and sitting in a truck outside behind the main stage, doing all that sort of stuff, producing live recordings for Stone Roses, Van Morrison, Divine Comedy, that sort of thing. And what surprised me looking back was that that kind of introduction to music kind of diversified out into so many different sort of areas, apart from the fact that having that kind of grounding enriches your daily life to an astonishing degree anyway, because you listen to music, you get so much more out of music. If you've put a little bit into it, it really repays you big time. Your investment comes back to you 100-fold. When it looked like I was actually going to become a professional musician, which I hadn't really thought about, but I'd been in UCD, and the band had started to kind of get moving, but it was when we sort of went professional and we suddenly started to get a wage out of it, and we found ourselves playing 5 nights a week around the country. We thought, wow, this is actually a gig, this is great. And it almost kind of happened in an unplanned sort of way. I don't think any of us ever sat down and, well, we kind of did sit down and say, look, we need to do this, we need to do this, we need to sort of build towards that, but at some point, I think it probably came when we first played the kind of main concert venue at the time, which was the National Stadium on the South Circular Road. That was kind of the biggest place that you could play at the time, and I think it was when we did that, and that's it's a video that's up on the RTE TV 50 or whatever. It's on the sort of archive website at the moment. and it looks kind of weird. It looks like from another. It is from another century, but it looks like from two other centuries because this kind of Mickey Mouse kind of strips of lighting along the front, and we thought this great light show, you know. And then you suddenly sort of found yourself in a whole other world. Where people were running around saying, "Would you like a cup of coffee?" Okay, the car would pick you up at 12. This sort of thing, you know, that was interesting. How does music make me feel? It depends on the music. Some music makes you feel pretty ratty, but like there have been a couple of incredible high points recently. Like playing music is extraordinary, and I played a session in this studio with the band like last week, and it was the first time we'd played together for 6 or 8 months, and it was just so glorious playing again with my mates and just feeling that kind of interaction because there isn't anything like that. But even going along as a spectator, there was a flute concert, a solo flute concert in a local little church on my road on Sunday, and I just went down. I thought, will I miss the rugby? And I gave the rugby a miss, and I thought I'd go down and check it out. And it was such an uplifting experience. I came out of it floating on air. It was just gorgeous. And to hear somebody who's really magically good at their instrument, doing different kinds of music and presenting you with a kind of completely new experience. There was some 20th century stuff. There was a piece of Bach. There was a variety of styles of music that he was playing, and it was just takes you into another dimension. It was magic stuff. It's gorgeous. If I hadn't studied music for the couple of years that I did, I would have wound up an economist probably. I would have probably been an academic. I would have been teaching economics, or else I would have been working at economics in the economics department in some kind of an accountancy firm or a bank or I don't know, Shell or something like that. And I guess I might have wound up, you know, singing with mates at the weekend or something like that. But I think that there would have been a kind of, I would have been aware that there was something lacking or something missing, or maybe it would have gone off and done amateur dramatics or something. Do you know what I mean? I think it's probably true that in everybody, and like everybody, there's a creative element, and it's part of what kind of makes human beings tick. And what you kind of need to do is find out where that works for you. For each individual it's a bit different. It can be music, or it can be drama, or it can be cookery, or it can be painting, it can be woodwork. You know what I mean? Once you've got something that you can lose yourself in, where you sort of start doing it and you get in the zone, like billiards, you know, I mean, you can get into the zone doing something like that where you forget everything else. And to be able to do that and actually make a living from it is an extraordinary privilege. And it's something that even if you weren't making money from it, I think everybody needs to find that kind of niche for whatever it is they do themselves. And because music is so, it's like the beer ad, it touches parts of the brain that other parts don't reach. And brain scans and all those kind of studies now show that your brain operates, different parts of your brain are activated when you're doing music, when you're doing stuff like that. And it energizes you, I suppose, in a different kind of way to pretty much anything else.